Hello and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today. As always, hit that like button and subscribe before we begin. And as I said before, it's getting late in the year and it's dark outside, so I don't know what the weather is. You have to look up the weather forecast for St. Louis, Missouri. But then again, sometimes you can tell better just by looking out the window. Those boys do the best they can, and they do a dang good job, really. But so much for weather. Today's topic is going to be how men expect too much out of women. It's amazing how men, including myself at times, we think of women as the weaker sex. And they are the weaker sex, okay? It's just the way it is. I know that pisses a lot of women off, but hey, in general, women are not as strong physically or emotionally as men. That's just the way it is. Women want to be career oriented like men, but that's just not the way they're genetically designed. In general, I'm not saying there's not exceptions, because there are. Why don't women make as much as men? Because they don't want to put in the hours and the time. They don't want to work that much. They're not capable of handling that much stress in that type of environment. But they are capable of handling the stress of raising kids and being in a home. And that is very stressful, something that a man is not really capable of. So why does that mean that they're belittled? Sometimes women feel like they're belittled because of that. I don't think so. That's not the way I look at it. There's nothing more admirable than a woman raising kids. What more valuable job could there be than raising the future of our country, society, or wherever you live? There is no more valuable job. That is the future of humanity even. So think about that. But back to expecting too much. We look at women as the weaker sex, and they are. Whether you like it or not, in general, you are. So you take, who is that famous tennis player? The African-American lady. She, what is her name? I can't think of it. But anyway, she was a really great player. She took on I think it was the number 100th ranked man player in tennis, and she lost. So there you go. And that woman is strong. I mean, she's a hell of a woman. But the point I'm making here is men think and expect too much from a woman. You expect her to be your mommy. You expect her to be there for you whenever you don't feel good, to take care of you. You know, a woman doesn't want to be your emotional tampon. So don't expect that from her. If you do, she's going to bail out on you, or dip out on you, as they say nowadays. She wants to be able to lean on you. She wants to be able to gain strength from your strength, because you are the more masculine, strong sex. I'll say it that way. I don't want to get in deep with the gender people out there, but we'll say male sex anyway. The male sex is usually the stronger sex. So she wants to be able to lean on you. Don't expect her to support you. You need to support her and the kids. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're working, you get into it with a boss, you get fired. You sure as hell don't need to come home crying to your wife like she's your mommy and you got in trouble at school, and tell her you don't know what you're going to do, you don't know how you're going to make it, or how you're going to pay the bills. Are you afraid you're going to lose your house? You don't need to be laying that crap off on her, expecting her to support you and encourage you. It doesn't work that way. You may get by with that once, but eventually she's going to be looking for a stronger man to support her and the kids. She is not going to feel safe with you. And I hear men talking about this vulnerability. I can't say the word. Vulnerability. You know what I mean. I can usually pronounce most words. Vulnerability. Okay, close enough. You don't need to be vulnerable with your woman, your girlfriend, your wife, your lover. She doesn't want you to be vulnerable. Okay, she may say she does, but as most of you guys know who are good with women, what a woman says she wants and what she really responds to and is attracted to and wants to stay with is not the same thing. You go telling her how you feel and what's going on in your mind, and she's going to get turned off by that, and she's not even going to know why. And you're going to think, well, golly, she wanted me to be more open and honest with her, and I'm doing it, but yet she doesn't want to be with me anymore. That's because she doesn't feel safe with you. You got to figure that out. It just doesn't work that way. Do not listen to the mainstream media when it comes to how to have a relationship. I did it for years and years. I was great with women. They respected me. I didn't lean on them. I didn't need them. I didn't tell them about my problems or anything like that. Then I kind of fell into the trap of what they teach you, that you need to be an equal partner. Okay, so for the next, let me see, I started doing that when I was about 30 until I was about 52. I was married 3 times, and all 3 of those women cheated on me. One of them, if not 2 of them, told me that I was a good father and a good husband. I've said this before if you've been watching my channel. Didn't make any sense to me. But now looking back in retrospect, reviewing my life of what worked and what didn't work, and watching many, many YouTube videos of men telling what worked for them and what doesn't work for them, it's a common thread. Women don't want you to be vulnerable. They say they do, but they don't. Okay, they want you to be the damn man. They want you to be the rock, the mountain, somebody that they can lean on when things are tough. They don't want you leaning on them. You don't need to be opening up your heart to your lover, your girlfriend, your wife. She doesn't really want that. Just go ahead. If you don't believe me, just try it and see how that works out for you. Or look back on your relationship where your girl would come up to you and said, well, honey, I'm in love with you, but I'm just not in love with you. Or you're with your woman, your wife, your girlfriend, and she hasn't had sex with you for 3 months or a month or 6 months. Why not? When she couldn't get her hands off of you, or couldn't keep her hands off of you when you guys first got together. Because you got soft, you quit being the man that you were when she met you. And if you're in a marriage and it's the same thing, you need to remember how you were when you met your woman. Oh, but you're going to say to me, well, she's gotten fat, she's not as pretty, how can you expect me to treat her the same? Well, if you're not leading her, then that may be how she'll get. Of course, if you live in the USA, it's a common thing. Where I live, I think 90% of the people are obese or overweight. And I very seldom ever see a woman over 18 that hasn't gained weight, who isn't at least 10 pounds, 25, some 50 or 100 pounds overweight. That's just the way it is here in the States, or at least in my state, the Midwest. Now, in other parts of the world, there are still beautiful women because they need a man, and women know that men are attracted to how they look. Call it superficial, call it what you like, but that's just the way it is, okay? Us men are attracted to beauty, to looks. Okay, now we're attracted to that initially, but once I meet a girl, and most guys are like me, looks will only get them so far. If they're a bitch or got a bad personality, they don't look so attractive to me anymore. But we may have sex with them because, like Corey Wayne says, a lot of times we're pigs, okay? We just like having sex. As a man gets older, it's not quite as important. He looks for something more, something with depth. But a man in his 20s or his teens, a lot of times he's just looking to jump in the sack with a girl. That's just the way it is. Until he gets in his 30s, then he may start thinking about settling down with someone. I was not a good husband in my 20s. I was a good husband in my 30s and 40s and 50s, and it didn't work out too well. So I was a good husband in respect to what I thought a good husband was. Consistent, provider, steady, good father. But that does not keep women attracted to you. You have to be something more. So in reality, I wasn't a good enough husband. You can figure this out as you go, or you can, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, a lot of people that know what they're talking about. You have a lot of wisdom out there of guys who got experience. I mean, if you just want to get laid and make a notch count for yourself, you can learn how to do that, although that leads nowhere, okay? If you want to learn how to have a relationship, there's a lot of guys out there who can help you with that. Guys who've had experience, guys like me who've made the mistakes, who knows what works and what doesn't work. So there's no reason for you to be ignorant about women. Okay, now we can only tell you what's worked for us. We can share our experience with you, but you got to go out there and mold it to fit your personality. What one guy can do that works well, another guy may do, and it may not work well at all. It may backfire on him. So you have to try these things. You have to take the action. You can't sit behind your computer and expect to become a great man with the ladies. Okay, and don't have these relationships by text, a text ship or a phone ship. I've talked to guys who are all wrapped up with a girl and they haven't even met her yet. They've just had some texting for 3 or 4 days or a week. It doesn't mean anything until you meet the person. It doesn't mean anything. They get all wrapped up in how did I text? I do this, I do that. And I knew nothing about messaging or texting until about, I don't know, a couple years ago. And let me tell you, I screwed it up. I didn't know. I would answer right away. I'd send long messages. I didn't know until somebody started doing the same thing to me. I'm like, God, geez, another long message I gotta read. I don't know what it is about that, but there's something that just kind of turns you off. So, but live and learn. At least I wasn't afraid to try. And now I've learned. But after I realized that I wasn't doing it right, I started studying. There's actually a science and a psychology to texting. So I studied it. And I'll tell you what, less is better. If you want to get rid of a girl, just start sending her long messages. Start telling her how you feel. I had a girl the other day I was talking to from another country. And I really wasn't interested in her because I could see that maybe she wasn't. I like thinner girls, okay? She was a little bigger than I like, so I knew how to get rid of her. So as soon as I got her WhatsApp number, I just sent her several photos of myself and asked her to send me photos. And yeah, she never sent me any photos because I was like putting myself out there to get her approval. But I did it on purpose because I really wasn't interested in her. So if you want to get rid of a girl, just put yourself out there for her approval. Try to get her approval. Talk to her a lot. Tell her all about yourself. Tell her how much you want to meet her, whatever. But it just doesn't work. Less is better. And I have another couple girls I've been talking to. What I do is I don't send too many messages because the whole deal is to set it up so you can meet them. Now these girls happen to live in another country. I can't go there right away. Excuse me, I may go there in November, okay? But you have to, if you talk all the time on text, what are you gonna have to talk about by the time you meet these people? So I just send a few words here and there, and sometimes they'll say, well, I think it needs to be mutual. How come you're not messaging me enough? You always want to have them wanting more rather than have them look at their phone saying, oh, got another long message from him. Yeah, it doesn't work. Make them wonder about you, where you're at. You can't do anything by text anyway. You can't build a relationship like that. You can sure screw it up though. You can, I won't say build a little mystery, but keep the mystery going until you can meet these people. And you can do a little bit of vetting by talking like that. But like I said, do more listening. It's the same thing when you're speaking to people. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so do twice as much listening. The same rule applies to texting. There's also the 2/3 rule. For every 2/3 she gives you, whatever it happens to be in texting or in the relationship, you give her 1/3. Now I've made the mistake, maybe some of you have too, when I'll start going out with a girl, actually meeting her physically, okay, and we're having sex, I'm being intimate with her, and she does things for me and it really makes me feel good. So it's like, I want to shower her back. And I've had a tendency in the past to give too much. And they look at that as a weakness. All women, not all, many women say they want to be treated like a queen. Yeah, go see what happens when you start treating them like a queen. They will treat you like a servant. They will disrespect you and they won't even know why. I was going out with a girl once and that's what she did to me. And I said, look at all the things that I do for you. You should be treating me better than what you do. She agreed. Yes, I should. And she said, I don't know why I don't. And I didn't know why at the time either, but I was giving too much. I already had her. I was not giving to get her. I was giving to show my appreciation for how she was treating me. But the more I gave and the more I gave her my time, my attention, and I gave her gifts because she was giving me gifts, it just didn't work. She lost interest in me. And okay, whose fault is that? It's my fault because I wasn't doing what you need to do. I didn't know. I'd forgotten what worked years ago. I'd been married for, 12 years, and I raised my kids. I had not dated for, damn near 20 years. But whatever, it's kind of like boxing. You know, I boxed for years, amateur and professional. You get back in the ring, you're going to get the shit beat out of you for a while till you get the ring rust off. Same way with dating. If you haven't dated for a while and you're back into the dating game again, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get knocked around a little bit. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to feel stupid. But so what? Get out there and do it anyway. What's the alternative? Sit home, watch porn, and masturbate? Yeah, I don't think so. And if you're doing that and you're not having the courage or the drive to go out and ask girls out, that's why. You're satisfying that urge superficially, and you're sitting there thinking you want to be with women, but you're going to the porn channel and satisfying yourself like that. That's a big problem nowadays, because we have things available now just at a click of a button that I wouldn't even have dreamed of seeing when I was a kid. I found my dad's Playboy, and I don't think he ever had Penthouse. Penthouse was really a prize, but he had Playboy magazines. That was a big deal. But now you can get on any phone and punch up all kinds of stuff that we never even dreamed about that people do sexually. So, and then kids turn to that because that's easier. That's the easier soft delay than going out there and risking rejection, you know, from some girl that you like. But I'm telling you, you will never be satisfied with watching porn and masturbating. It just doesn't work that way. You'll live a life of quiet desperation. Everybody wants to mate. Well, most people want to mate. And you're never going to mate with the screen, all right? It's safe for sure, but it's not satisfying, and it will leave you depleted. As in contrast to if you go out and you face the fear, you pick up a girl, you go out with her, and you're with her physically, you have a sexual experience with her physically, that will empower you. Now, if you do that too much, it can drain you. You don't want to allow that to become a god for you, or something that you determine your worth on by how many girls you can get, because they will come when you have a dry spell and you won't be able to pick up anybody. And if your value, there's someone yelling. If your value is based on that, that's strange. If your value is based on that, guess what happens when you can't accomplish that? Your self-worth, your self-value goes down, and you feel like a piece of crap. You're not, but you feel like that because you base your self-worth on something outside of yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-worth always has to come from within. Okay? That's all I have time for today. Thanks for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Share it with a friend. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.